Welcome, citizens, guests, council, and staff. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Wendy, roll.
Mayor Cernanek.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Beckman.
Here.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Stallman. Councilmember Valdez.
Present.
Councilmember Brinkman. Sorry. And Councilmember Stein.
Here. Okay, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, I wanted to just extend my appreciation early here for the school resource officer. I believe his name is James Englert, who was present at Arapahoe High School for his bravery, and of all the first responders that participated. I know that we had many here from the Littleton service that was present at the high school, and I think that Michael and Desiree Davis have shown a lot of graciousness as well. Council, any changes to the agenda to consider?
I would still like council to consider moving reports, comments and reports to just after minutes and before citizens' appearances. And the reason why is because I think there are times, maybe not tonight necessarily, but I think there are times when we do have comments that are worth hearing right off the bat. And I know we're going to be discussing this in a couple weeks, but I would like to move that for tonight as well.
Okay. What is the sentiment of council?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and you wanted to move that after citizen appearances or before?
I would think before.
Before. Okay. Got that. Any other changes to consider? Okay. We also have the minutes first for the November 12th study session. Any changes to consider?
I've submitted minor changes.
Okay. Anything else? Approved then. The minutes of November 19th regular meeting. Any changes to consider?
I've submitted minor changes. Oops, I'm sorry, on the 3rd. I'm ahead of myself. Sorry.
Okay. Those stand approved. And for the minutes of the December 3rd regular meeting, any changes to consider?
Minor ones.
Okay. Thank you. Those stand approved. We now have the opportunity for any unscheduled public appearances. I'll first read the comments. Unscheduled appearances are an opportunity for any citizen to express an opinion or ask questions regarding city services. Oh, wait a second.
Yes.
Let's move to the reports. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Okay. City manager, anything to comment on?
No.
Okay. Council members? Councilmember Cole?
In December, let's see if I get this right, the mayor and Mr. Beckman and Mike Bratton and I attended an outstanding presentation and meet and greet at the the Tri-County Mental Health. Really insightful information, updates on what they're doing. I also attended a meeting at the South Metro Chamber of Commerce on a new degree program that's being offered by CSU at its main campus and south on engineering systems. I would tell you that was so fascinating. If I wanted to do another degree right now and have another career, I'd be doing that degree. It's applicable to almost any kind of business of any size, more than a couple of employees, I guess. I think city government and others too. Really fascinating. And Phil, I think were you there for that too?
I was detained, so I
That's
wasn't
okay.
able to be
I
there.
couldn't
so.
remember. I think I was the only council person there, but really super.
That was Dr. Sega presenting on process engineering.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Councilmember Valdez.
Sure, thank you. First, I do want to thank the citizens and all those, especially Dan Flynn, who was from District 2, for serving on the interview committee for the fire chief. So thank you to all those folks. Also, over at East Elementary, they're having a good year over there. Principal Kelly Card is in her first year, and she's doing a rather good job, is my understanding, and we appreciate that over there. And last, I have, for the Charter Review Committee, I believe there's been 6 meetings, but there's only minutes for one. Are minutes being kept for those? And, is there any reason why we're not getting the minutes available online? There's only one available, and that was the first one.
We can take a look, but I believe all the minutes were included in their update, their November update to council.
I was on there a couple days ago, and there's only the October minutes were available.
Okay, we'll check, but yeah, there's ones for all meetings.
Great, thank you, appreciate it, thanks. That's it, thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Stein? Thank you. And then a quick report, Mayor Pro Tem Beckman.
Yeah, just to add to the discussion on this Charter Review Committee, just in the course of events, I ran into one of the folks on that committee, one of the ones that I had appointed, and he was very complimentary of particularly the last 3 meetings. He said that they've really started to make some headway and get some things happening. You know, they're past that initial trying to organize stage, and they're really flying. I was concerned when I saw that there was no quorum for this meeting coming up and it was canceled, but at the same time I happened to run into him, and he was very enthusiastic about what the committee's doing.
Excellent. Anything else, Bruce?
No.
Okay. And then a quick report on some events with regard to Dr. Cog. First off, the December 4th MetroVision's Issues Committee was canceled due to weather, which leads to the board's meeting on December 18th. One of the agenda items was a consideration of telephonic participation. As folks know, the board is made up of individuals across 9 counties, and so some of them travel a fair amount of distance. And after actually 2 motions, it was decided not to allow for telephonic participation. And then the Dr. Cog board also adopted a policy on state legislation, legislative issues coming up. And there was an informational briefing on the 2040 scenario analysis, and those will be included in the minutes, and that'll be posted on the website. And then also of note is the MetroVision Issues Committee that is typically scheduled for the first Wednesday of the month was not held on January 1st. It was postponed until tomorrow afternoon, so that will be at 4 o'clock. And reminder for folks that we will be dealing with the medical marijuana centers as far as our study session agenda, and then also looking to take on what we didn't finish in the workshop with regard protocols, procedures, and rules.
Great.
So,
Mayor, I would just point out that it's retail marijuana, not medical marijuana.
retail, okay. On our tentative schedule, it said MMC, so my bad on that. So it'll be the retail side of it. Okay. Thank you. No, you didn't. We're now at public appearances, or public citizens appearances. So, okay. And let me read the prefacing message for that. Unscheduled appearances are an opportunity for any citizen to express opinions or ask questions regarding city services, council policies, or other matters of community concern that are not part of the scheduled agenda. Generally, an immediate response should not be expected. Typically, issues are referred to the city staff for follow-up information or research, and those are reported back to council and the individual that initiated the comment or inquiry. And so there is a 4-minute limit. Would you like to come down and right here, front and center? Grab the podium there. It's yours. And I'll start the timer and start with your name and address, please.
All right, my name is John Rossi. I'm at 6454 South Daytura Street here in Littleton. I've been a resident of Littleton since 1962.
Okay, and if you could just try to speak into the microphone for those folks.
All right, thank you. I represent here tonight a veteran advocacy organization that's headquartered here in Littleton, the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Association. And I'd like to present to the City Council a resolution that they might approve and pass in support of certain veteran benefits for Navy and Fleet Marine personnel who served during the Vietnam conflict, who were officially disabled according to the Veterans Administration due to their active duty service, but who have lost those benefits for health care due to an unsubstantiated regulation change within the VA. There's currently a House resolution, HR 543 at the federal level, that would return these benefits to those veterans. The resolution that I would bring before the City Council would be part of a grassroots support statement from various parts of the country that would show the members of Congress that the proposed law would have support at the grassroots level. I understand that what I need to do is to provide the city clerk with the appropriate documents so that each of the members of the committee can review these details and decide whether this is an appropriate resolution and to bring that to the schedule for future discussions, etc. So I will do so. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those now.
Any questions, Council? None at this stage, John. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Wendy is our city clerk, and you can provide her with the documents directly, and we could have that possibly for consideration at our next regular meeting.
That'd be fine. Great. Thank you for
It would be in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Mark.
Good evening. My name is Mark Rudnicki, 6062 South Aberdeen Street in Littleton. I'm also the president, or derisively called El Presidente, of the Aberdeen Village Improvement Association, which is an association of 128 houses directly to the east of Kettering Lake, which is the reason I'm here tonight. I'm here, well, let's see, our neighborhood association also includes 2 celebrities on council, Mr. Stallman, Mr. Valdez, although he's still on probation. I'm here tonight on behalf of Aberdeen Village to thank City Council for their efforts in filling Kettering Lake. Because water was not being run by Denver Water in the Highline Canal, Kettering Lake was in danger of drying out. It was essentially becoming a mud flat with corresponding smells to match. Quite an eyesore for Littleton. Today, the lake is filled. The wildlife, especially the bird life, is back again. The lake is pristine and being enjoyed by Littleton residents. So I'd like, again, on behalf of Aberdeen Village, to thank Council for any of your efforts. I'd like to thank staff, Michael Penny, any of them that had a hand in negotiations with Denver Water and finding a way to fill the lake. Also thanks to one of our residents, Larry Borger, who was one time Littleton City Manager. When told that nothing could be done to fill the lake, he did not take no for an answer and kept pestering the city to find a way. And a special thanks to Charlie Boston for his efforts in negotiations with Denver Water. And as Charlie mentioned in an email, he had the good sense not to argue with Denver Water when they suggested that they would fill the lake via the fire hydrants in front of the museum. So on behalf of Aberdeen Village, we have this little plaque that we had at our annual Christmas party. Lots of signatures and thank yous. We'd like to present this to the city. Either goes on the wall here or perhaps behind Larry's desk.
Since it was the staff that was the predominant squeaky wheel, would the city manager like to accept on the city's behalf?
And I'll just read it briefly. It says, our appreciation for your work to keep Kettering Lake a jewel of the community, the Aberdeen Village Improvement Association. Thank you for making it a jewel again.
Yes.
Thank you for coming down.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
El Presidente.
Would anyone else like to?
Hey, Kim.
Good evening, Kim.
Good evening. Kim Glidden. I own the Pottery Studio Gallery, 5739 South Curtis Street. And I had a letter I just wanted to read, which, thank you. To council members, having addressed City Council on several occasions with my frustrations as a downtown Littleton business owner, I am following up to express my appreciation to the city. Thank you for the addition of pedestrian crosswalks at Alamo Avenue and Curtis Street. Thank you for addressing marketing and wayfinding in downtown Littleton. Thank you for reaching out to collaborate and partner with Littleton businesses on special events. Thank you for not placing portalettes across from my Western Welcome Week event last year. Thank you for placing street closure signs at the alley between Main Street and Alamo Avenue on Curtis Street during last year's Candlelight Walk. Thank you for featuring my business, the Pottery Studio Gallery, in the October 8th issue of Littleton Report. City staff has always been courteous and helpful, and I want to mention by name Charlie Bloston, David Flagg, Tim Weaver, Joanne Ricca, Eric Irvin, Lorena Donahue, Chris Hargis, Kelly Nardi, and Michael Penny. Over the past 10 years, the historic downtown Littleton Merchants has done its best to make downtown a vibrant and appealing destination. While I am a member and serve on the board, I do hope the city will reach out individually to all businesses for input regarding plans for downtown marketing and wayfinding. Respectfully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Yes, Frank.
Just like you're reading it.
Good evening, Frank Atwood, 7094 South Castilla Street, Littleton, Colorado. I'm here to announce that the resumption of the Littleton Economic Growth Discussion Group will be discussing this year. The theme is how productive are public-private partnerships? And our first speaker is on the, our kickoff speaker, no less, will be
Dramatic, I like this.
yes, a former city manager, Jim Woods, who will be speaking on the topic of the usefulness of eminent domain. And so that will be consistent with how productive are public-private partnerships. And this will be a monthly event at the library, Bemis Library, Tuesday mornings, the fourth Tuesday of the month, 10 a.m. At Bemis Library. This month it'll be held on January 28th. Subsequent speakers that have been invited are Tom Christopike, who will be discussing successful public-private partnerships, and City Manager Michael Penny, who will be discussing business incentives. I appreciate everyone's cooperation, and it's been fun. I'd encourage, I'm going to use Paul Bingham's email distribution list as a method of reaching the public. With Tom Mulvey's passing, what comes to mind is the quote of Thomas Jefferson with regards to being the successor of Benjamin Franklin at the court of Versailles, in which he said, "No one can replace him, only succeed him." And I consider Paul to be Tom's email successor. And a topic that will be coming out on the email will be the board and commission application deadline for Friday, January 31st, and look forward to the public participating vigorously in those applications. Additionally, that ends my discussion with regards to Littleton Economic Growth Discussion Group. With regards to approval voting, you may have heard the topic. Representative Singer from Longmont is sponsoring a bill in the state capitol. He's a Democrat in the House, and State Senator Balmer will be carrying the bill in the Senate. It is enabling legislation for statutory municipalities and special districts to use approval voting if they want to with the Secretary of State guidance. If you're at all interested in the topic, please see me, and Happy New Year all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank. Were you going to say anything, Tom? I will later. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Good evening, Linda.
Good evening. FYI, Paul Bingham's email address is spelled PBingham @ECENTRAL.com. But I'm here. Sorry about that. I'm here. My name is Linda Knupicki. I live at 7089 South Clay Street, and I'm here tonight to present a few thoughts related to the modification of the real estate transfer tax assessment covenant for Aspen Grove Apartments. As you well know, the reason for this assessment is to compensate the city for lost revenues to change the rezoning from office to residential. Former Council Member Taylor said during a March 20, 2007 hearing actually to approve the development that the RETA is voluntary. So if this RETA is voluntary and non-enforceable, why would anybody pay this assessment? And furthermore, why are we here today? It makes no sense to me. So back in 2007, staff provided council with a fiscal impact analysis and an analysis of various legal mechanisms used to collect and disperse this type of assessment as reported on the March 20, 2007 staff report. I haven't seen this analysis, nor have I seen the confidential legal memo staff provided you to make this decision tonight. So this means I have to kind of read in between the lines and make my comments. So what I read and what I observed is that the city had legal precedents to impose this assessment, and the applicant, Quadrant Properties, wholeheartedly and enthusiastically agreed to it and championed the RETA. To get rid of this assessment without some compensation to the city is just not responsible. Promises are promises, and the reason this development exists today is partially due to the agreement on the RETA. Furthermore, this RETA does not have financially benefit the city. During the 2007 council meeting, Mr. Ford Frick of BBC Research and Consulting estimated sales taxes revenue the city would be foregoing is between $300,000 and $372,000. This study was paid by Quadrant Properties, the applicant, and again, the RETA was driven by Quadrant and not the city. So from the RETA, the city receives just kind of a pittance from what Quadrant anticipated potential revenues would have been if the zoning was left to office. So in addition, the city and county have committed an additional $300,000 to shield Aspen Grove Apartments from South Platte Park. So you have a potential loss of revenue and an expense of $300,000 because of the Aspen Grove Apartments. Furthermore, the apartments have not been an economic engine for this community that the city anticipated. Revenues for Aspen Grove, right next to the apartment, have been steadily decreasing since the apartments opened in 2011. So no matter how you look at it, the city is not gaining revenue from development. So the RETA obligation for this development is $96,475 based on the sales price of $56,750,000. Surely the buyer did its due diligence and knew of its obligation when it purchased this property. So I do think that Aspen Grove Apartments is getting a great deal by just paying $96,475. Maybe they should be paying more. So also maybe you can get to a compromise. Maybe they'll agree to repaint the apartments to blend better into the park, or prairie chic was a term that was discussed during the hearings. And of course, that's my interpretation. So no matter how you look at it, get the money out and run. Get out of this RETA covenant quick, agree to a monetary settlement, and be done with this. The RETA was a bad strategy back in 2007, and it's still a bad strategy today, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
And stay tuned for this evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Howdy. Hello.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Jeannie Erickson, 5567 South King Street, Littleton, 80123. I would like to address some concerns I have regarding the Constitution of the City of Littleton, which is the Littleton City Charter. I am concerned that we, the citizens, are not able to see what is going on with the review of the city charter. The meetings are being held at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on weekdays when most of us are working. And I'm also concerned that for some reason it was not deemed necessary to video these meetings, especially because of the times of the meetings are taking place. At a previous city council meeting last month, it was brought up that the citizens who were on the committee were not told that they would be videoed. That is why it supposedly is not being done. Then why didn't someone ask if they would mind if they could be recorded so that the remainder of the meetings could be reviewed by the public? At that city council meeting, Deb Brinkman also brought up the fact that, well, they were about to wrap up. The meetings at that time were not even halfway finished. And to me, that was just blowing us off. The city manager, the city attorney, and the city clerk are all attending these meetings. So it seems to me that if they are that important to have all of these high-ranking city officials attending these meetings, that we the people should be able to see what's going on. I would like to encourage all citizens to get involved with their local government. It is our responsibility to make our government accountable. Please write a letter, email, or come and speak regarding issues that concern you. You have the right to voice your opinion. Make yourself familiar with what's going on at littletongov.org. Also, today I came across something that I decided is going to be my motto, my personal motto for 2014. I used to pray for somebody to speak out, to stand up and defend our liberties. Then I realized I am somebody. Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
I just have a quick response, if I might, Mr. Mayor. I asked a question about the videotaping in the hearing that you responded, that you were mentioning, and a chance to bump into one of our mutual neighbors, Jack Randall, who told me that he was in fact videotaping those. So you might look him up and see if you could see those on his video.
I guess I'm also just concerned for the rest of the public, not just me personally. I think other people would like to see what's going on.
Okay, but they are being videoed, as I understand
Okay,
it.
thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. We now have the consent agenda item. Consent agenda items can be adopted by simple motion. All ordinances must be read by title prior to a vote on the motion, and any consent agenda item may be removed at the request of a council member. Item 6A is a resolution approving a professional services agreement between the City of Littleton, the Littleton Fire Protection District, the Highlands Ranch Metro District, and Emergency Services Consulting International.
I'd like to pull that.
6B is a resolution designating locations where notices of public meetings are to be posted and identifying the newspaper where notices and other information required to be published will be for the publishment during 2014.
I'd like to pull that.
Item 6C is a motion to adopt the 2014-2015 City Council goals and objectives.
I'd like to pull.
Item 6D is a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Littleton, Colorado, the Metropolitan Area Communications Center Authority, West Metro Fire Protection District, and Evergreen Fire Protection District concerning a consolidated regional computer-aided dispatch system.
I pull.
Item 6.
I beg your pardon? Did you asked to pull that? I didn't hear it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 6E is a motion to appoint a representative to Arapahoe County Community Corrections Board. Item 6F is a resolution to approve an eligible governmental entity agreement between Statewide Internet Portal Authority of the State of Colorado and the City of Littleton regarding the provisioning of services. Item 6G, resolution to approve the sale of 1,455 common stock shares of Principal Financial Group. Item 6H, a motion to amend the legislative rules to change the start time of City Council meetings and special meetings and study sessions.
I'd like to pull that.
Item 6I is a motion to approve appointment of liaisons to boards and committees. Item 6J is a resolution to approve a police recruit training agreement with the City of Lakewood on behalf of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office and Lakewood Police Department's Combined Regional Academy. Entertain a motion for those items not pulled.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented as to the items that were not pulled.
Okay, and those items include 6E, 6F, 6G, 6I, and 6J.
Second.
Thank you. Council ready to vote?
The vote is 5 in favor and the motion carries.
Thank you. Going back to item 6A. Is that you, Jerry?
It is. Is the acting chief here tonight? He is.
I can answer questions.
Okay, you are the man. Okay, the company that's being suggested here, they said went out to a bid?
Correct.
And it's the same company, Emergency Services Consulting International, that we had a contract with, I think it was last year.
That is
we did a
correct.
sole source with last year. I guess I'd like to hear more about what this company is going to do for us, why this company, and just a little bit more about it.
So they came in at the low bid. It's a different group of individuals doing the work, because as you're aware, we were not happy with the service provided on the Inglewood Littleton study. And so we had some conversation with the representative from ESCI, and we were comfortable. And when I say we, it's both our partners and Littleton. So Councilman Stallman sat on that along with me and the chief and some other staff from here. And so we worked through it. Originally, we were doing a standards of coverage study, and ultimately we decided what we wanted was a master plan for the fire department with a standards of coverage being an outcome of that product of that study as well. And so that's where we ended up. We're comfortable that the company will be able to provide the level of service that we need, and we'll be working with them closely on this. The reason that this document is here is because our partners want to be signatories on the contract as well, so we can all jointly hold them accountable. Otherwise, we would probably just have done the contract ourselves.
Okay. And follow-up, thank you, that was very good. So as far as the other bids, then, how many bids did we have?
I believe we had 2 bids.
This and another?
Correct.
And do you recall the cost of the other?
I do not.
Okay. So then as far as...
It was more.
As far as the service that, what is this, emergency services is going to give us, are they going to be able to use the information from, what do we pay, $40,000 before?
No, this is really a different study. That was looking at at our relationship with Inglewood and everything from SOP and training, ultimately, as you're aware, up to a potential merger. This is really looking at what is our demographics, what are our future needs within the fire department, specifically within the medical world, because, as you know, our vast majority of our calls are medical related, and so how should we staff ourselves, where and how do we locate either full stations, partial stations. So it's really looking at us, and when I say us, again, it's our service area, and developing a master plan associated with that. So it's a completely different type of study and document.
Thank you.
Councilmember Beckman.
Jerry, thank you for pulling that, because I would have also pulled it for the same concern that you expressed. We were not happy with that Englewood presentation, and this is a chance for them to really redeem themselves seriously.
The group, the 8 or 10 of us in that room, none of us were happy with the SCI. And so, trust me, there was a lot of raking over the coals, and it's none of the same people. It's an entirely different group of people, same company, but different group. And led by our fire partners, they supported this and want to move forward with it.
2 comments. One is, I noticed somewhere in there is an opportunity for them to get with elected officials at some point, and that's really important, I think, in this discussion. And the other just comment, we have a new fire chief coming aboard. Is there any timing issue here that matters in terms of that?
He's on board.
Okay.
Yes, Peggy.
So the public meetings that will be held to help discern what level of services the citizens want, will they present during that also the costs that are associated?
Don't have the details on that yet.
Okay, well, I'm asking then, since I'm suggesting, if you go and ask the citizens what they want, that they be in, the company, the group,
Correct.
that they give citizens some idea of how much the various different levels will cost.
Yeah, there's a lot of education that has to come on this. This is not a simple question about service delivery. Correct?
Yeah.
Yep, we're on it.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Sure.
I move that the resolution approving a professional services agreement between the City of Littleton, the Littleton Fire Protection District, the Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District, and the Emergency Services Consulting International be approved.
Second.
Council ready to vote?
5 in favor, the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 6B, was that?
It was me,
Sherry
I believe,
again?
Yeah. And just a real quick one on this. On the advertising in a newspaper, and we're going to use Littleton Independent is what I believe we're going to go for here. Is there any reason we're limited to one? Is it about cost? We're just checking a box that we did something, or is there any reason we would not go to 2?
Go to 2 different newspapers? We could, but the idea is to put it in one place so people know where to go look every single time. And as you branch out, there is a cost increase. We also put it in 3 different places in the city on the website, and those happen all the time.
Okay, cool.
So it's important that we have standard places for things to be posted.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting changing that. I'm just saying, why not another for the increase, perhaps? But the cost is what?
Well, it varies depending upon what you're putting in the paper. It could be anywhere from $500.
For the year? For the year is?
For the whole year?
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's okay. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't looking to change it as far as taking away or anything. Cool, thank you.
Councilmember Beckman.
In looking at the information under staff analysis on the council communication, it talks about the idea that you can have a minimum of 2 of the following 3 choices. And then the next paragraph down, it talks about sometimes it just has to be published in a newspaper, so that's going to be one of them. I'm just offering that for the public to know where to go, it'd sure be nice if we said we always did it on the web, you know, that was always going to run.
It's always on the web, and it's always in those 3 places. And if the charter directs us to put it in the newspaper, then it's in the newspaper. All of our legal notices, all of our ordinances are posted in full on the first and second reading at the library, at the courthouse, and here in the city center, or Littleton Center, and on the website.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, please.
I move to approve Resolution 1, Series 2014, designating the locations where public meetings are to be posted and identifying the newspaper where notices and other information required to be published will be published for 2014.
Second.
Council ready to vote?
Vote is 5 in favor. The motion carries.
If someone could help me, who pulled 6C?
Becky.
Peggy?
Shoot.
She wasn't, I was.
Let me find this. My iPad has, I think, given up the ghost, so I'm using a more
Just find
challenging
it. Just find it,
technology.
Peggy.
So let me find this. Well, let me say generally what my thought is. I think the goals and objectives are generally very nicely done, but I would like to have some of them have actions that don't have actions, so we have a little more sense of what we're trying to achieve with those. So maybe we could have discussion on that, or do you want to just have some comments?
Do you have any other comments?
No.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
Jerry?
So under number 1, the first objective, under actions, and there it says develop a quarterly spreadsheet creating a 5-year revenue, so on. I remember when we discussed this, I was suggesting just a 5-year plan. I don't really think that a quarterly, at least for me, would be necessary. I'm just looking to see the first 5 years, what it would look like as far as revenue and expenses go. And also, along with that item too, also, developing a prioritized list. It says programs, and I'm not sure what programs is meaning, what it means, but I'm thinking a prioritized list of capital and expenditures. Is that what that's supposed to be?
My recollection, Jerry, on the first one was, yes, you started it with a 5-year revenue, and then as the council was continuing to discuss, there was some thought of having that be a living document and continuing to show it on a quarterly basis as the numbers become more real as we hit it and then continue to project out. And then, so that was a part of the further council discussion. And then on the prioritized list of programs, I think it was intended to cover capital, but also general programs like the omnibus and shopping carts, so you started to see what those capital needs were as well, and it wasn't just in the capital asset area as well. So we can, if you're not satisfied with the word programs, we can certainly change it, but I think it was intended to be more all-inclusive than just essentially public works capital projects.
I guess maybe if, and I don't know, Peggy, if this is what you were getting at too, where it says a list of programs, maybe a such as, a couple of items, just to give me an idea of what programs might be. Does that work with you, Peg?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's good.
Okay. And now I do have another one. We had also discussed analyzing availability of potential commercial properties, and I didn't see that later. Was that something that we wanted to add in somewhere? or we decide not to put that in there at all. Does council remember?
Where are you going with that, Chair?
Analyze availability of, during our discussion, I had suggested that we put in analyze availability and potential, analyze available and potential commercial properties.
I think we have that. Michael, could you help me out with where you put that?
Yeah, it's not really, it doesn't really address what I was getting at, though, in our discussion. That's why I was thinking that this would be the...
Randy, you're probably thinking of number 5, the second objective and the last item under the second objective, action.
Right.
Which is worded, encourage and assist with occupancy of vacant commercial spaces through a diverse, complementary, and cohesive tenant mix, which will define Littleton as a shopping designation.
And what I was thinking there when I brought that up, at one time, Chris Gibbons had done a study on commercial properties, some that were doing well, some not so well. That was the kind of study that I was thinking of.
And we still do that, and we track vacancy rates and also, I mean, maybe it's just getting the information to council.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
So to be clear, what I thought I heard you say, tell me if I'm wrong, is that that doesn't need to be a council objective because it's already ongoing.
Yeah, it could just be part of
but it could be a council request or request of staff, but we don't need to be redundant and put that in objectives.
Yep, and we can do it as a periodic study session update on economic development.
Okay, good. Okay. So then when we get down to the last one under actions for that number 1 section, support the Federal Interstate Commerce Fairness Act. Isn't that just following the law?
No, that is currently in Congress right now. So that is essentially the internet sales tax. And so the state of Colorado passed legislation last year that should the feds approve internet sales tax and allow for the collection. And so I think what the council intent was is that if there was an opportunity for the municipality through CML or National League of Cities, we would demonstrate our support through a resolution or a statement of support in some fashion for Congress to pass that bill.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Valdez, perhaps just to clarify, maybe the insertion of a word, support passage of, and that would make clear that this is it's an act that's in front of Congress, but it has not been passed yet.
That would make more sense. Okay. Then my last item within that section, then it says, apply for at least 2 new grants. What kind of grants are we looking to apply for?
Well,
Any.
I was making it more specific than what we got in our draft and recommended, hey, let's say how many. Let's put a goal of applying for 2 no matter whatever they are. Hopefully we'll apply for more than that. But in the various areas of the city, somebody is going to be writing 1 or 2 grants.
So you just want to make sure at least.
Yeah, that we have some, I mean, we could put 20, but that's unrealistic. So and maybe if we have 2, maybe we'll have 4 actually written, but I'd like to have
Well, instead of
say,
at last, it would be at least 2 new grants then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Got that. That's it for that section.
Then let me see if I can find in what I did here.
I have other sections too.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
I was
Go
just-
ahead.
if anybody else had-
Maybe you'll hit stuff that I would have done.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
Right. May I suggest that if there, because the intent was to do this between the study session and via email.
Right.
And if there's really a lot of these, we've got the legislative rules and the protocols on for next Tuesday's study session, and maybe you want to just postpone this, and especially since you have 2 council members out, and move this on if there's going to be section by section.
Okay. Is council sentiment then we can include it, and if you could forward those comments,
Okay, sure.
and then we could include it in our discussion next week.
I agree.
Part of my reason for bringing these up tonight, and I'm agreeable to that, is that since this meeting that we talked about our goals and objectives weren't televised, I think it is good that we discuss them more in public instead of just between emails to the city with our comments. I'd like it to be known that we as a council are working with the city manager who's working with us. And instead of just this magical stuff that happens between us, all of a sudden we have this product that we all just vote yes on.
If we do that, I'd love us to think a little bit more about more actions. I mean, a few more actions, not to overload staff, but just to things that we've talked about at various meetings or otherwise.
On how to get there type thing?
How to yeah, actions that are going to implement some of these goals and objectives.
And on that point, let me ask the city manager one question, because as we went through the discussion, it was, do you have enough to work with staff as far as action items and follow through? We were looking to get to a higher level of specificity. Is there any areas where the city manager would look for additional clarifications?
So no, I think we've got ample in here. I mean, and we can talk about this in more detail next week, but part of what I think we were discussing from action items are what were the things that council was going to get behind from a political standpoint and really support. It's not, I mean, if you want to give us a to-do list, we certainly will do the to-do list, but I'm not sure that that's what the best role of a goal, an objective, and action statement is. It's really what is the council's support, and I would suggest that you keep that at a manageable level for you, not from a staff perspective, but 3 or 4 things that you truly want to see happen in the next year that's around the political support of it, not about, I mean, as an example, we're not going to apply for at least 2 new grants, with all respect for that particular action item. We're going to apply for every grant that we can find an opportunity to. And so it's nice to have a number in there, but the reality is we're going to greatly exceed that because we've got to focus on grants, and that's what the council directive is be focused on grants. Mm-hmm. And so unless that there was something in particular the council wanted us, that the council's political will was to go after a particular grant that we needed your support for. Mm-hmm. So I would suggest that the action items are more about what you guys need and less about what the staff
Do we need a motion
needs.
to table?
I don't think we need a motion to table. We'll just take it up.
Could I just ask a question? What Jerry, I think,
Motion yet.
are we still in the discussion part? Yeah. Right. I just have a quick question, clarification. Am I hearing correctly that, Jerry, what you basically want to do is, rather than exchanging emails with staff, to make those in a more public setting at next study session, because our last study session, although public and well attended by the public, wasn't televised?
Well, I think for all 3 of the public that were there, that they didn't represent all the city. That's why I would like it to be more open for folks, yes.
No, I'm just asking. I don't disagree.
I wouldn't say that meeting was well attended, though. That was nowhere near well attended. Okay. So I think, yeah, and you have it right, and it's exactly what I said. I would like to have it more in the open with our discussion.
So we should budget some time in our next meeting to talk about
Study
this.
session, yes.
Okay, that's what I was getting at.
Okay.
Just somewhere in this discussion, the dashboard that the deputy city manager presented to us last month fits into this because it gives us an opportunity to measure on a periodic basis items that reflect action items. So if we have an action item, I'm just picking that one on 2 grants, I know that was on the dashboard. It talked about relative positioning for grant applications of cities. That's one that might help us get an action item in that area without specifically putting it in the goals and objectives because it's there on the dashboard. So maybe that's a better way, and then we start working with the dashboard.
Thank you for your thoughts. We'll continue that discussion on Tuesday. Item 6D, Peggy. Councilmember Cole.
I'm looking to find where what page in this I need to look at. So this, I believe my question on this, so you can help me, is in terms of the meetings that will be required. I believe it says 6 a year for the group that will be overseeing this. And theoretically, 6 a year could all happen in 1 week or in 1 month or whatever. I'm thinking it would be better to have something like at least one every 60 days or one every 2 months, at least one like that, rather than 6 a year without any kind of regularity. So I kind of appreciate council's thoughts on that.
Could I ask staff what the intent is?
They will meet. They're not going to have the meetings all in one time. I mean, you need
Well,
to,
no, I know that, but I just,
you need to let these folks, and that's not in the resolution itself. That's in, right? That's in the
Agreement.
in the report, right? Yeah, it's in the. Yeah. So this IGA is. I would suggest that you leave it alone, if I may be direct. These are professionals. They're going to manage it appropriately. This IGA is going through all of these entities, and it's not a document. We start editing this document, we have to route it all the way back through it because all the entities have to agree to it.
okay, but I do have, I think,
And Peggy, let me make a comment on this. These are professional organizations, and also, as we've seen in 2013, there are sometimes incidents that happen that could get in the way of a particular meeting or a particular schedule. And I will trust the professional groups to get together at a particular interval that will make some sense given incidents that might happen.
okay, I have a little different take on that. I do have a substantive issue, and it's in the resolution. At least I hope I'm in the right item here. In the resolution itself, so I will talk about it and then hear your thoughts. In the now therefore part number 2, the city attorney, it says, is authorized to revise the intergovernmental agreement prior to execution if revisions are requested by any party to the agreement as part of those parties' approval processes. I think that should be qualified to add if they are not substantive and do not increase the costs. So I think if they're, meaning if they are substantive or increase the cost, then I think we should have some kind of ability to comment on that. I mean,
With that.
is that okay? I mean, I don't figure people are going to abuse, but it just seemed to me fair.
That was exactly the intent, that if there were minor, non-substantive changes, that we wouldn't have to come back to council. We could just make the change on the staff level. So to add those words to clarify that is not a problem for staff.
Okay, so do we need a formal motion to
When you
add
do
those
make the
words?
motion, I guess I would suggest that whoever makes the motion amends paragraph 2 of the resolution to say city attorney is authorized to revise the intergovernmental agreement prior to execution if the revisions requested by any party to the agreement are non-substantive and do not increase. Actually, it should go right at the end of the sentence, actually. It should be a comma at the end of the sentence and say, so long as the revisions are non-substantive and do not increase the cost to the city.
Okay.
So
Now,
moved.
we don't have a motion yet on, oh, we do. So can we, oh, all right. So, but we don't have the original motion, do we?
Motion, yeah.
We have to amend it first.
Well,
No.
actually, someone can make a motion to approve the resolution with this amendment. So, Councilmember Stein, if that's your motion, then I'll turn it back over to the mayor, and he can see if there's a second.
So the motion by Councilmember Stein is as stated under the proposed motion, but in addition, amending item 2 within the resolution so long as if non-substantive and would not increase the cost to the city.
Correct.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So we just voting on the amendment?
Whole thing.
The whole thing.
Comment?
So discussion on the whole thing. Just a comment. I think it's amazing that you were able to get 2 E911 authorities from 2 different counties to come to an agreement on sharing something with their costs. So I want to congratulate fire staff or Doug or whoever did that, because I know that is a tremendous movement, and it's truly groundbreaking. So thank you.
Kudos.
I did.
Council ready to vote?
So it's just one motion. Is all.
One motion.
Vote is 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you. And then item 6H, Jerry?
Peggy? It's Peggy.
No, Jerry pulled in.
You were the one.
Oh, H, I'm sorry, H. I'm sorry, we jumped ahead.
Councilmember Valdez.
If it isn't Peggy, it's got to be me, huh? Okay, and this is just, at our next study session, we are going to be discussing more in length, the legislative rules, because this is just changing the time of the meeting, which is, I don't have a problem with that, of course.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah,
this
which,
was
by the way, the next meeting will be at 6:30, is that correct?
That is correct,
Okay.
which is what the council's request was. And you do have legislative rules as well as protocols, and now your continued discussion on goals and objectives next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m.
And then the only item I was going to add to that, though, would be the order of the agenda. So that we could do next week, then?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the council made an exception tonight at your request, but the amendment to the legislative rules, that'll be a discussion.
Excellent.
And you've been very consistent in your views.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Sure.
I move the legislative rules, Section 2, council meetings, subsection A, regular meeting, B, special meetings, and D, study sessions be amended to read 6:30 p.m. as a start time.
Second.
Council ready to vote?
5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you. That completes the consent agenda item, pulled items.
Great.
Okay. Next, we have a general business item, 8A.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Before the council begins discussion of this, if I can indulge and make a request of you, I have been having periodic conversations with the property owner's legal counsel, Jay Camlett. He is here with his client tonight, and I had expressed to him, and I think we had some misunderstanding as to what the appropriate time during the agenda for them to speak, since this was not a public hearing item. And I believe they initially did intend to speak during the public comment portion of the meeting, knowing that it's not a regular practice to have public testimony during general business. But we had a misunderstanding on how that was supposed to work. So I would ask the council to please give the property owner and or his legal counsel the opportunity to briefly address you in connection with this request.
Okay. So noted. I wanted to know whether staff was going to provide a report or presentation first. And it's listed as city manager, but he just...
Timely, very timely.
Why don't we take a break for a minute?
Okay. Can we take a 2-minute break, and we'll reconvene. We're going to reconvene, and there is no staff comments?
There's no staff comments. I think the memo explains it, and council also received a memo from the attorney's office. So I think that covers where we're at. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. And we will govern you by our public comments, and so you're limited to 4 minutes. Start with your name and address and whatever other title you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Jay Camlett. I live at 5654 South Lansing Way in Englewood, Colorado. Mr. Mayor, lady, and gentlemen of the council, my name is Jay Camlett.
Right into the mic there.
Right into the mic, sorry. I'm here. Is this better?
He's too tall.
Still feels a little uncomfortable. Okay. Before I begin on my topic, I wanted to just personally and publicly express my appreciation to staff, particularly Jan, Glenn, Charlie, and Kristen for all the work that I worked with them on the Breckenridge Brewery entitlements. I didn't have the opportunity to work with Mr. Penny, but I hear he was also equally as helpful, and we're very excited to be able to open a state-of-the-art brewery and headquarter facility for Breckenridge Brewery, hopefully come March 15. We're moving some dirt right now, and we'll remove some asbestos pretty soon, and we'll begin breaking ground hopefully mid-March. But like the Aspen Grove Apartments were in 2009, it also will be a gem of the city. In 2009, Aspen Grove Apartments LLC, who I'm representing tonight, was the only new multifamily project in the entire country because of the economic conditions. It's the first ever LED certified, platinum LED certified multifamily project in Colorado. It's provided $4.2 million to the city and county and related agencies in fees and impositions, and another $650,000 in real estate taxes alone. There are a whole host of other benefits to Littleton, but that can be addressed by my client, Tim McEntee, the director of Wood Partners, the initial developer of the project. My case here today is to say that the intent of the ordinance in March of 2007, which included the RETA, was clearly intended to apply to replace the missing sales tax revenue that would have been generated from a commercial project, which even as of today seemed unfeasible to be developed in that landlocked property because of the times and the conditions. The apartment development was the only feasible use of the property. The RETA in 2007 at the March 20th, 2007 meeting talked about the real estate transfer tax as the only alternative that was available at that point to provide taxes in lieu or a fee in lieu of taxes. And while there is precedent in Colorado for those type of assessments, to our knowledge, this was the first in Littleton and still the only real estate tax transfer assessment imposed in the city. As the city knows too well with its recent bout with standardizing permit fees, it's that hodgepodge that creates problems for both developers and community planners, which is why we feel that by being the only development in the city subject to the RETA, we believe that from a legal standpoint that the tax poses a lot of significant questions of whether it's lawful in the sense of violating equal protection or the uniformity of taxation clause of the Colorado Constitution. We also believe Tabor is involved, as Councilman Clark mentioned in the August 20th meeting where the PAVE enterprise was denied. This was an imposition, but it was only at the intent of getting the zoning for the property itself. I'll yield my time. I don't have any more time left, but I do want to just say one thing that relates to the impressiveness of this project and the work that the developer did with the city. And I hope Mr. McEntee can give you a little more color on that.
I'm a short guy, so I got to really bring it down. Timothy McEntee, 5299 DTC Boulevard, Greenwood Village, Colorado. I am the managing director partner for Wood Partners in the central region. Just a couple of points. When we came into this development after McStain had blown out of it, and the original concept was to be a for-sale condo development in 2008, we got involved in it late 08. The world was upside down. We were able to secure financing and bring 50% equity into this development, and we were one of only two apartment developments in the entire metro area that broke ground in 2010. We spent over almost 2 years working through this development with the staff. The colors were selected by the staff and then overridden by the council. We stepped up and spent about $50,000 in our first 5 buildings to repaint them after there was a pushback on the colors. As Mr. Campbell mentioned, we have just under $5 million in impact fees to include almost $2 million in Littleton sewer fees, Arapahoe open space, $100,000. We did a grant with the Arapahoe open space for $50,000 for education, $500,000 in permit fees, over, I think, $600,000 in use tax. So the city benefited significantly during a very difficult time. Staff and the city manager were very supportive of our project. It has been a significant success. I think you know better than anybody that the Aspen Grove Mall has been in a decline for probably closer to 10 years. Our biggest supporter throughout the development was the Aspen Grove and Margie Munez, the general manager of the mall. We were able to secure somewhere between 400 to 500 new residents adjacent to them, new rooftops, with benefits like we have room service through our apartments with the restaurants within Aspen Grove. We have associations with different retailers that we do gift coupons, trade services. So there's been a lot of coexistence with the mall, and I think we all understand, as it looks like we're going to lose the Apple within the Aspen Grove Mall, that you need 724, you need residents. I was the first developer to break ground in Lowry many, many years ago, developed over 1,200 units within Lowry. I'm in Union Station right now. I'm at Alameda Station. We developed, I think, probably in my 25-year career, in about 15,000 apartments, one of the finest developments I've been associated with. It did win. It was the first LEED certified stick developed apartments in the state of Colorado. We pursued that on our own. It wasn't a commitment to the city. And it also received the 2012 ULI Project of the Year Award. And when we got our LEED award, and the mayor received it, and we got our LEED plaque, who was against the original rezoning, he mentioned that it was a great asset within the city. I've been involved in Littleton for a number of years, was involved in Raccoon Creek when I was a young developer. It's a great city. It's been a great opportunity. When we initially closed on this side, it was our understanding that this one-time tax had been given for the rezoning. Then the council had publicly come out and said, we feel it's a taking. It's not a fair tax, and it declined the ability to take that tax. So I kind of feel like I've been, we're being a little bit isolated here, since it's never been done before. I doubt it's going to be done again. So I'm really here more just for my own just fairness, and I think it's a big part of my doing business. I think the dollar amount is not as important as just it being fair. So I appreciate you taking the time. I wish we'd come back earlier, and I hope Aspen Grove is a great asset for the city, as I believe it will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Okay, Council, this is item 8A, which is consideration of a consent to amend the Declaration of Covenant by APTCO, the Aspen Grove Limited Partnership. Quite simply, this is a decision on the part of Council whether to take a position waiving the transfer fee or tax. Discussion.
Well, I guess I have something to say. First of all, Mr. McAtee, thank you for your presentation. I've been to your project. I was there for the presentation of the ULI, and in fact it's a gorgeous project. I am aware of the room service. Sorry, well, I guess it is room service, where the restaurants, and I think it's a wonderful project. I think it's done a benefit to our community. I will take issue when you say you were the first developer to break ground at Lowry. Actually, I was. I built the Big Bear Ice Arena back in 1994, but I digress. But I do want to compliment you. I think you did a wonderful job with the project. I do note that they're having read, as I'm sure the other councilors have read, the arguments that you and council provided. I think that there is some merit, certainly some merit, and particularly the language that says that any conveyance of the entire property of more than 50% of the property owner to one single buyer is an exemption. So I understand that, and we go that. And I think it's somewhat persuasive, but speaking for myself, I'm kind of a benefit of the bargain kind of a guy, and it's my understanding, having also reviewed the minutes of the meetings of previous councils long before us, long before I even thought about running for council, that it really was the intent to receive, one might even say extract, some kind of quid pro quo in exchange for the rezoning of commercial to residential, which I believe was appropriate, both to do the rezone for market forces, as you noted, and also for the council in its artful or inartful way. I can't really say, but it seems to me that the fact that the owner sought and received permission to change the nature of the development to apartments, which essentially guaranteed that the assessment would never be paid from the subsequent sale of individual units, to me, supports the city's claim that we should be entitled to that payment. And so for that reason, I'm going to vote against the amendment.
Other comments or discussion? Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Stein. Likewise, I think there was a deal that was struck that would not look at necessarily deferring the extraction, if we want to put that in quotes, in perpetuity. And I would support not taking a motion at this point in time, which would leave it stand and leave it up to staff to deal with the property owners and the transfer. Other comments? Okay. Having none and seeing no motion, we move on to agenda item 10A. Thank you, Mr. McEntee and Jay, for your presentations. Agenda item 10A is a consideration on first reading, an ordinance approving a master services agreement and First Amendment with Comcast Cable Communications Management, LLC, for telecommunications connectivity services. This is primarily to address services to two of the fire stations that are located in 1221 West Mineral and 9554 South University Boulevard, and the also Station 12 at 6529 Broadway. Any presentation?
Not unless there's council desires it.
Okay. Okay. You want to extract questions now?
Yeah, I can ask the question now.
Councilmember Beckman?
Maybe the question's a little bigger than the limited topic here. But I remember when Comcast came into the city, there was an understanding that they would support city operations in some way. And I'm wondering what happened to those agreements, and I'm seeing that this is a city operation that Comcast, based on the way I understood it, would have been using PEG funds or just a cooperative venture and be providing it at no cost, in fact, probably assisting us the way it was sold originally. Ken, can you help me there?
Ken, I might be in a better position to respond to that. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, part of the problem is that the federal laws have been changed in the years since cable service began in Colorado and indeed throughout the country. In the earlier days of cable companies did come in and make a lot of promises about providing free services and giving free networks to cities in return for the rights to use the rights of way in order to provide cable services. Over the years, we've had some changes both in the Federal Cable Act and then also at the state level. In 1996, the General Assembly here passed a bill that basically preempted local governments from making those kinds of requirements on telecommunications companies for any services that were not related to the cable services. So to get the kinds of connectivity services that are before you tonight, clearly they're not cable television services, so our state legislature has preempted local control in that area. In addition, Congress has changed the federal law, and in some cases, some of this law was in there from the start. PEG fees that we get for the use of supporting Channel 8 can only be used, according to federal law, for capital expenditures relating to the PEG channel, so for cameras, microphones, equipment, but not for the kind of connectivity that this contract before you covers. The bottom line is the combination of the federal preemptions and our state preemptions limit any kind of city regulatory control over a company like Comcast to issues relating to what you can put in a cable franchise, which has to relate to those cable services. And the revenues that the city receives in franchise fees are only based on video revenue. So if you are a Comcast subscriber and you get your video services and your telephone services and your internet service, the city gets 5%, but only of the piece of your bill that relates to the cable services, the video part. So that's a perhaps longer than you wanted to hear explanation of how we as local governments have been limited by the General Assembly and the Congress and what we can do as far as regulating and requiring benefits from telecommunications companies.
Thank you. That was a great answer, and it's a shame that we've lost our ability to have that influence. Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember Valdez.
Quick for the city attorney, a quick comment. And as I understand it, you're an authority in this area. Is that correct?
I sort of, yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Other questions, comments, discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, please.
I move that the ordinance approving a master services agreement and First Amendment with Comcast Cable Communications Management, LLC for telecommunications connectivity services be approved on first reading.
Second.
Okay, and the motion would include second reading as well as a public hearing on January 21st. Council, additional discussion? Ready to?
You just said there is a first and a second reading.
Yes, this is the first reading. That was the motion.
Oh, that's right. This is the first reading, second reading.
Okay. Council, ready to vote?
I'm still stuck on consents.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Council. And before we adjourn this evening, I would be remiss in not recognizing the death of Tom Mulvey. It was mentioned earlier by Frank Atwood. Tom passed during our break between our last meeting and this one. Tom was always a gentleman, and he preceded me in service to District 3. And our hearts go out to Betty as well in this. And there was a great service that occurred at the Presbyterian Church at St. James. And it was just wonderful to hear from the sons and their comments about Tom, and former Mayor Doug Clark also provided some great comments with regard to Tom and his service to the city. So our hearts go out. And with that, Happy New Year to all, and that it may be a prosperous one for all of us and the city as well. We're adjourned.
Thank you. Good job.
I feel like the straight man that can't.